The latest tech.
I'm Alexa. I can answer your questions.
Interviews.
And we are evolving, and we are seeing an amazing opportunity that is happening.
Accessibility.
Accessibility is one of our core values. It's even a part of our mission statement.
This is DoubleTap TV.
Welcome to another episode of Double Tap TV. Thank you guys so much for being with us. Email us, feedback at AMI.CA. It's not an order, it's a request. You can send us anything there, criticism, comments, feedback on the show. We welcome it. We talk about it all the time. God, we've got so many shows to talk about it on Double Tap Canada, Thursdays on AMI Audio. On this show, we'll talk to you. I promise, we'll answer. On social media, we're at Double Tap Canada. Use the hashtag AskDoubleTap. Helps us find that a lot quicker, and of course, we get to that as well. This week, we are talking all things robotics, and more specifically, assistive robots. Are they taking over the world? I am Mark AFLALO, and by my side, Stephen Scott to save me right now. Stephen.
Hi.
This idea of robots helping us out on a daily basis, this isn't a new idea, is it? You know, I could think of the earliest references of assistive robots, really, probably being Rosie on the Jetsons cartoon.
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, even further back than that. I mean, remember those old black and white commercials of the House of Tomorrow and all that? You know, the idea that robots would wash your dishes. You know, that was a completely unique idea back then, that you could put your dirty plates or cups into this machine and it would clean them for you. Now, of course, that's all I mean, who doesn't have one of those dishwashers, right? I mean, I was in a house once that didn't have a dishwasher, and I thought I'd honestly walk back in time. I thought I'd get into a DeLorean and got into this person's house. You know, it's like, why don't you have one of these? And that's it, and that's the beginnings of it. People forget that. It's like when people talk about technology. If I say to someone, hey, you know, what technology do you have? Oh, I've just got this old Nokia phone. They're like, that's technology. That's what it is. So, you know, it's already here to some degree. The difference is what we're talking about are robots that don't sit static in your kitchen, but just follow you around your home, which sounds cool.
Well, you know, more recently, robots really, they have come in all shapes and sizes. And, you know, they've designed to help us. Like, you know, I can think of the Roomba, for example. There's the Roomba that just vacuums. There's the Roomba mop that actually mops up the floor and messes. Or even the $10,000 robotic dog from Boston Dynamics that you can see all over YouTube, and we're showing on the screen right now. I mean, these are examples of robots that we can, you know, get today.
I would love one of those. You know, people think I want it because I want a robot guide dog. What I really want is a robot that can go to the store, pick up the bars of chocolate I want, and bring them back to me without me having to move. You know, why have a robot guide dog to take you to the shop when clearly it's smart enough to figure it out for itself? Brilliant.
You know, you sent me this great link to a presentation that Hyundai put out at CES this year. And, you know, this was a really cool futuristic kind of portrayal where they envisioned a connected assistive future. It started with a woman, clearly disabled, and a remote pod appearing in her apartment. She sits down in the pod, it brings her downstairs down the side of the building, and meets up with this kind of a bus-type vehicle that is, of course, clearly self-driving as well. It docks in and takes her places. Now, these are always fun things to imagine, but really at the end of the day, these are all concepts. And I think stuff like that aren't even intended to see the light of day. Do you think they will?
I do. I have to say, I'm a little bit, I get a little bit nervous when we always talk about these things as helpers or something that can assist me. The way I like to look at this technology is it can assist all of us. You know, there are lots of technologies out there. The electric toothbrush is one great example. That was designed to assist disabled people. How many people have got an electric toothbrush now? Most people, right? And no one thinks of it as some kind of mobility aid. So I don't like framing it as mobility devices or assistive aids for disabled people, because ultimately it's for everyone. What tends to happen is the marketing feels this is the best way to show how this can help someone in a very real way. And it's all very, you know, worthy, and I get why they're doing it, but I don't think we should look at it like that. I'm all about mainstream tech for all, not just for disabled people. You know, I'm sick of the special box approach to everything that, you know, oh, you're blind, here's your special box, and, you know, off you go. I want the same box that everyone else has. And, you know, when the iPhone came along, that was a good example of exactly that, leveling out that technology where everybody could get access to the same thing. I want the same with this, and it looks like this technology is going to move in that direction. And I think that's really positive.
You know, well, earlier this year, Stephen, at CES 2022, there was a pretty phenomenal company that caught my attention, and it was called Labrador Systems. So I tracked them down. and I invited their founder and CEO onto this show because I wanted to talk about their assistive robot that, is actually available and going to be available on the market this year. I know, it's crazy. That gentleman and his tech are on deck and going to be here next on Double Tap TV. So follow along with us, feedback at AMI.CA, our email address, on Twitter at Double Tap Canada with the hashtag AskDoubleTap. We will introduce you to Labrador Systems after a quick break here on Double Tap TV.
For more great Double Tap TV content, visit AMI.CA/DoubleTap. This is Double Tap TV.
Welcome back to Double Tap TV, talking all things robotics. Thanks to CES 2022. I am Mark AFLALO with Stephen Scott by my side. Stephen, excited to bring on our next guest.
Yeah, I am, because this is a company who, if I'm right in saying, have brought out a robot that is actually going to be available this year.
Yes, not only that, Stephen, but conveniently enough, their founder and CEO is here. His name is Mike Dooley. He is the CEO of Labrador Systems. Mike, welcome to Double Tap TV. Thank you so much for joining us this week. This robot you're going to tell us about, did it launch at CES for the first time? Is that the first time we're seeing it?
This is first showcase, so we debuted it at CES. So it was the first time we publicly announced it.
Mike, tell us a little bit about yourself. This isn't the first time that you've got into robotics, is that right?
It's a long story. I even go back to the 90s. I got in robotics with Lego Mindstorms. That's Lego's product that lets kids build and program robots that do what they want. It's a nice plug for them. I was the original product manager and marketing manager when that was a Skunkworks project in 1997. And so I was in charge of the consumer launch of that product and the first 4 years of it. And that was my introduction to when you start working with motors and sensors and empowering at that time kids to do more of what they want, and that just that was the bug that sort of got me and worked on bigger and bigger robots since.
Mike, what I find interesting here, and it's something I mentioned off the top, is we see a lot of speculation, a lot of concepts, especially when CES comes around, like the one I mentioned early from Hyundai. But this isn't just a prototype. This is not just a drawing on a paper. This is a real device that you're showcasing, that you're demoing right now, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think that I've been in. I think it's now coming up on 25 years in robotics, and it moves differently than people expect. I think there's a lot of high expectations from seeing sci-fi, and even just seeing some of the showcase robots that you see, the ones that dance and do all these, YouTube hits that get in the tens of millions. And there's a real big difference between what's practical, what's stuff that we're actually going to see personally in our life. And so our mission is really to focus on what's right around the corner. It's what can we do now with the technology to develop and help people, in not in the future, but tomorrow or next year. And I think that takes a different effort, because you're always trying to you're trying to drive innovation, but you're trying to be very grounded in what's realistic and what can really work for folks.
Mike, I imagine a lot of people are listening thinking of this robot being, having, a torso and arms and legs and a big head and, glowing eyes and all that stuff. But, bring us back to earth here a little bit. Can you physically describe what this device is, the Labrador Retriever robot?
Yeah, I think the best way, and this sort of undersells it, but it's like a robotic side table. If you can think of that, it's 18 inches wide, 23 inches long, and it has a height that can go from 25 to up to 38, over 38 inches, and it's flat on top. And what that is, it's a work surface. It's basically a surface for carrying items and storing and keeping things within reach. So if you wanted to have something that you could put a laundry basket on that's empty, if maybe you have arthritis, or you have back pain, or you have some other issue that makes that difficult for you to carry a full laundry basket, you could put an empty one on the robot, send the robot off to the laundry room, and it parks right that perfect spot next to the dryer, and can raise and lower that basket. So it's in just pretty good position for loading things and unloading them one at a time. And so basically you have this platform that if you didn't see, what's funny is when we were doing the initial press interviews and having people visit in a condo for demos, we had 3 robots parked, or I think 2, actually 2 robots parked in the room, and one was driving around, and someone says, well, how does it charge? And I said, well, it docks. And it says, well, how do you show that? Well, that robot right there, it's docked. I'm like, I thought that was a piece of furniture, and they didn't notice it after being like in the room for about 20 minutes. So it's sort of this weird blend. If you know, it's when you take those panels off, it's entirely robot underneath, but we really try to hide that complexity, and we can put it's a nice sort of rounded edge, rectangular robot that's got a nice flat top and wood paneling. It's a weird combination, but it has a very, when people would go to our website or see it on YouTube, it looks like something very different, and that was our intent.
That's a great description, Mike. And in one of the promo videos, which we'll put on the screen now, we see the retriever rolling up to a counter or a piece of furniture, and it pulls off this tray, which I assume was, preset with stuff on it that you might want to get later. It's kind of ready for fetching. How does that work?
So it has these 2 missions, and we have 2 models. One's called Caddy, and the other one's called Retriever. And the Caddy is basically the base model, same form factor, but is great for carrying items and keeping them. So you have 2 decks. You have this top deck that you could put like your whole meal on, your groceries, set the dinner plates on it and carry them all over in one swoosh over to the dining table. Then you have the lower cabinet that you could keep a lot more stuff like, snacks, your extra pair of glasses, charge your phone. So it's got a lot of storage capacity. And when you go up to the Retriever model, embedded in that design is there's a retrieval mechanism that can pull trays on and off of shelves and other surfaces. So we have pallets that right now we use like a standard cafeteria tray. I think it's 12 inches by 16 inches. That you can put that on a shelf or on your countertop or table and keep, let's say, okay, that's where my mom is going to keep like her snacks for the day, or it could be a bin with an extra blanket if she's feeling cold. And she could ask the retriever either from her phone or from hitting a button or using a voice enabled device, ask, so whatever the command is, ask the robot to bring me the snacks, and the robot will go off, pull that tray off the shelf, bring it to her. She can take what she wants, and then it'll go park and put it back in place. And what we were showing at CES is we plan to also offer a beverage size refrigerator that you could have a couple trays in for drinks, but also for like prepared meals or other things that could go and get something cold, bring it out to you, and then put it back as well.
Okay, Mike, I have to ask this question. Does this thing know its way around the home? I mean, is it going to bump into the walls all the time? Does my cat have to start moving out of the way and have to retrain the thing? I mean, I don't have a cat, I should point that out, but you get the idea.
Yeah, so basically we get, I think it's okay. People think that, man, they say, well, it's overly simple or it's not much of an innovation. And I think the perception of how complex it is inversely related to how complex it really is under the hood. So this product wasn't possible pretty much 10 years ago because the technologies weren't around to do it in a consumer way. And so what we use is the basis of it is a lot of the technologies that are out of augmented reality. That, if you're playing Pokemon or they're on your phone or AR headset and you see that character jump up on a table and it stays aligned as you track in 3D position, those same things that basically let you move fake things in the real world and they look like they're really there, we use that with robotics to move real things in the real world. And that's pretty complicated. So we use cameras that visually track the environment using computer vision. They don't see the world the way we do it. They see it in this almost like matrix view. It's scary. The first time we did this, it looked like the Matrix. It's like, hey, are we in another reality? I don't know, but let's make the robot. But you sort of see this matrix type view of the environment. And that lets us, track our position. So when someone says, hey, I've got an order or a grocery delivery or a package at the front door, I send the robot to the front door. It visually navigates and parks within a few inches usually of about its spot, and it knows its orientation and its height. So if it's maybe parking at the front door, it lowers down so you can put stuff easily on the lower decks of the product. Then you say, okay, well, maybe if it was the groceries, I'm going to send that off to the kitchen. And then you could say, ask the robot to go to the refrigerator, and it'll visually navigate to that path. And along the way, those paths are like flight paths that a pilot has. They're guidelines, but if your dog or cat is in the path, it'll detect certain size objects and then go around those. They're elastic. We had a funny story. I think the first user we had it, she had two dogs, and one of them was a border collie. And the border collie would learn, because it's naturally herds things, that it could basically herd the robot. So when she would command it, it would hear the robot starting up, coming down the hall, and it would play with it and basically block it and see what it would do. So it's pretty funny to have a dog controlling a robot named after a dog. But the idea, though, is that you're using these sensors that we currently use a lot to sort of superimpose things on games and other sorts of applications and detect obstacles. And we're fusing that to sort of see things in 3D, know where we are in the house, and also recognize when we see obstacles and then go around them.
You see, Stephen, your pretend cat is safe. Don't worry about it.
Excellent. Good.
We are in conversation with Mike Dooley, CEO of Labrador Systems. When we come back, let's find out who uses this robot and who it's meant for. This is Double Tap TV. We'll take a quick break and come back with Mike Dooley.
For more great Double Tap TV content, visit AMI.CA/DoubleTap. This is Double Tap TV.
Welcome back to Double Tap TV. Thank you guys for being with us. We are in conversation with the CEO of a company that I was introduced to at CES 2022, and that company is Labrador Systems, and their founder and CEO is Mike Dooley.
Now, Mike, we know what this thing looks like now because you've given us a fantastic description, but who's going to buy it? Who actually is going to use this?
There are many, and I think the one that we really want to make sure we hit is folks that have early onset conditions. I think like when a lot of folks think there's a lot of natural fits that, where someone has significant issues with mobility or pain, it's very clear in a second. We have, folks would come up to us at the trade show at CES and say, my dad just got diagnosed with, I think the case was Parkinson's, and we expect he's going to be in a wheelchair full time in about 6 months. And man, this could be a lifesaver. Like those are the things people tell us. And that's the obvious case. The less obvious case is, I think, of my mom 10, 15, maybe 12 years ago, when she was still in her 70s, as she was starting to have difficulty with mobility and starting to use a cane or starting to have pain. The mission of this product is to be that extra pair of hands to keep you more active.
Mike, that's so true. This is far more than just aging, really. People going in for day surgery, people with disabilities from birth. This really is a solution that has no real limits.
The whole idea is if you have something that's interfering with your daily activities, whatever that is, whether it's it's progressive or it's a chronic or it's something that might be acute, you may have had an injury and you're trying to recover from it. We really believe that if you can help somebody do more when they're in that situation, either they can recover faster or be more independent, that you can either help them recover faster or you can help them prolong that level of activity. If you're walking and like that's the whole idea with that laundry basket, is that once it gets too heavy or too risky or just difficult to carry a full laundry basket, we still want you to do the laundry. We still want you to sort of do the loading and the unloading and moving stuff around and moving with the robot. So that's our end goal, because if we can get folks there at that level, at the moment where, hey, this is starting to sort of, my body's changing or it's not doing everything the way it used to. If we can do it that way, the robot is there to sort of adapt and sort of help fill a gap.
So, Mike, that being said, if you look at your typical user, would they have one in their house or multiple throughout the house working together?
I think it depends on your home setting and it depends on the issues. Like for folks that may have mobility issues, we see a lot of them either if they're in a multi-floor home, they'll either they've moved to a single level home or they're spending a lot of time on that one main level. For other folks, our goal is like, we always get this classic question, can it go up the stairs? And that's the 25 years of experience. Like, no, don't mess with that because robots haven't gotten better at stairs in the last 25 years. And it would be cheaper for us to make it so that we can have enough robots out there that it's cheaper to buy a second one than it is to make this big gargantuan robot that probably takes out your stairs in the process every so often.
What about people with low vision or people who are totally blind? Have you had any feedback from them?
We've thought of that for the start and it keeps on coming up. And so we're actually going to be partnering with an institute in San Francisco on doing testing later this year. I even had several folks come by the booth to talk to us about that. But that environment, they may be agile and going across, multiple floors. And if we can get the price to the right point, they may want to have multiple in that setting. But probably one a level is probably enough. That's all we'll push. If everybody in Canada and the US and North America got one every level of their house, I think we'd be okay. So.
Mike, before we let you go, you mentioned earlier that you're working with third-party devices like refrigerators. Is that something available now or something that's in the works?
We have a couple of them because that's what we show at the show, but basically that's a prototype. So we took an off-the-shelf fridge and we used that one because it was actually light to carry around and it's something that's easy to put into pilot studies. But what we'll be doing with feedback is looking for what the right size is, like how much do people want to store in there, and then partner with a company that makes an existing fridge. And we basically do an aftermarket change. We add a couple motors and a radio. So that controls the door. And then the robot does everything else. The robot knows to park in front of it. It knows when it's safe to open the door, does that, it does the retrieval and the whole bit. So that'll be something, that's entirely our plan, is to have a third-party solution, at least one of those that's available when we get to market.
Mike Dooley, it has been great hearing you here on Double Tap TV. Thank you so much for coming on. I cannot wait for me and my fake cat to try out this amazing device.
Really appreciate it and just really appreciate the feedback on the product and excited to be here.
That is Mike Dooley, the CEO and founder of Labrador Systems. Stephen, that wraps up another edition of Double Tap TV. I hope you got some information there, and I hope you're ready to take on the robotic future that awaits us.
I cannot wait. I love all this stuff. I just love it, and I want to hear more about it. I think we're moving towards a really cool place with this tech, and it is really going to change people's lives because they'll be able to live more independently at home. And, it's like Mike said there, complementary technology, not taking over. Brilliant.
Maybe we'll get you a robotic cat if that,
I don't want it. I don't want cats.
That wraps up yet another edition of Double Tap TV. Thank you guys for being with us. On behalf of Stephen Scott and Mike Dooley, I am Mark AFLALO. We will speak to you again next week.
Hosted by Mark AFLALO and Stephen Scott. Editing Jordan Steeves and Mark AFLALO. Voiceover Anna Vicino. Integrated Described Video Specialist Ron Rickford. Coordinating Producer Jennifer Johnson. Director Production CARA Nye. Director Programming Brian Perdue. VP Content Development and Programming John Melville. President and CEO David Arrington. Copyright 2022 Accessible Media Inc.